Welcome to the Accessible Pursuits podcast. I'm Greg Trainer, along with my co-host Mike Hudson, and we're so glad you're joining us today. Welcome to the Accessible Pursuits podcast. This is our very first one, and Mike and I are so excited that you're joining us and going to go on this journey with us. Mike, man, what's going on in South Carolina, brother?
Hey man, we're just enjoying the weather change. Everything seems to be going good, but man, we still got some wind coming in, and that wind's a little chilly. So I'm hoping you guys up north keep that cold weather and we get an early spring.
Man, it was 65 degrees yesterday, and we got snow on the ground this morning. So Mother
Oh
Nature better figure this stuff out one way or the
no,
other. I'm either in
no,
shorts or a parka.
no. Mother Nature's bipolar, I have no doubt.
Well, Mike, this is a really special podcast. You know, you and I have done the Accessible Hunter podcast for a number of years, and you and I talked about expanding our topics and coming up with a new podcast. And you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing in this new venture, and would love to hear the theme behind it.
Man, it's one of those things. We've had an awesome time together, man, and that's one of the things I'm gonna keep giving you kudos. I thank you so much for going on this trek with me, and I'm beyond blessed and humbled that me and you get to share this journey together. And it's not a knock on anything that we've been doing in the past. This is just an opportunity that we worked on together, that we see a unique opportunity that we can broaden out, continue to do more than just hunting and fishing. I tell people all the time that's my passion, and then I get stuck not in a rut. You don't want to say, but it's almost like there's more to you than that, guy. And so it's just reaching another broader topic, and man, it goes to another section that we get to reach more and more people and talk about advocacy and disability realm in a whole.
Yes, sir. You know, it's going to open up a whole new audience to us and new topics that we can share and really bring our many years of spinal cord injury. You're hitting 30 this year. I'm on 26 this year. We have a lot of background knowledge that isn't just about hunting and tracking deer, you know?
Yeah. And that's the kicker is, trying to find ways that we can actually make change, um, and reach more and more people, for the good of the community. And that's the kicker is our community is so diverse. We don't want to leave anybody out.
Yes, sir. And, you know, talking about not leaving anybody out, we brought out the big guns for this very first podcast. We have my wife, Beth, here, and looks like somebody's joining you there too.
Absolutely. I got my bride, my go-to, Miss Michael Parker. It's one of those things, man, it's a blessing to have my go-to with me. And we wanted to do that on topic number one, be able to bring our brides out. And I want to thank you again for all you do, but of course, Miss Beth, thank you for everything you do and for keeping us healthy, happy, and humble.
You want to introduce yourself to everybody a little bit?
No, I think you did a good job. I'm Beth, and I listen to you too, every week, and your guest, and thank you for bringing us on today, because when you're doing something, when you're on an adventure or just about your day to day, we're involved too. And I think people forget that, yes, you need a lot of accommodations, but there are other people that join you, and
Yeah.
and that's who we are. We're the ones that join you on
Yeah.
your day to day. So thank
Right.
you.
Yeah. And I know Michael, she probably would uh go along with those sentiments, but it's definitely a team effort. It's nothing that we could do solo by any means.
We're in the spotlight a little bit more, you know, we're visible, but when you start to really know people on an individual basis and you get to, you know, interact with us as a couple, you understand that we're no different than any other couple. You know, we have to
I
get
don't
along and
know. I think
cooperate.
y'all are a little bit different. I'm watching Beth make honey and make rugs and stuff, and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of behind over here. All I know how to do is bake a cake.
Now,
Beth kind of stuff.
that's my prep to retirement.
Okay.
I'm 2 years out, and
Oh,
yeah, so it's pretty close.
yeah.
And that's the plan. So I thought, well, although I love following you around and your adventures, I think those cold Pennsylvania nights, I need to have something else. So that's why I
Yes.
sew, and we can't keep eating cakes and cookies, or or we'll have other problems.
It, it
Right.
it's been a really cold winter though. We are always looking for new projects, and having the farm, we've kind of got into beekeeping, and then
Mhm.
we got some honey and made some chapstick for the first time this week. And
Yeah.
I'm a big chapstick guy, so making our own was something I always wanted to do, and she made that happen this week. So I was fortunate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it was fun.
we kind of, me and Michael went through the master beekeeping class, and we haven't got to the point of yet having bees. And, but it's one of those things we're trying to figure it all out. I like the aspect of just trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
And, that kind of coincides again. This pursuit and the journeys we get to go on, it's about finding new ways to advocate and live life. I'm just excited to see what new avenues come to fruition. The bees sound kind of cool. I know you guys had a little bit of issue with the bees this year, but hopefully you guys kick back in and figure it out. You can keep the cold winters, man, but I want to know everything else that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we had, not just us, but in general, the beekeeping community had a lot of loss this year in between the weather and a lot of other things. That's okay, because most of us are in it for the long haul. So we've already ordered new bees, and we're ready to go again. We'll pick them up, and I'll drive home with a couple hundred, about 10,000 bees in the back seat of the car next month. But yeah, we're good to go.
That was a
Okay.
new experience for us last year, because we are first year beekeepers. And
Right.
when she drove the van, we strapped down the nuke of 10,000 bees on the floor of the van. And I thought we'd be more nervous. She went by herself, and she ended up stopping at Dairy Queen and pulled into the parking lot and left the bees in the van while she ran in them.
Got an ice cream cone.
She pulled up to the
Yes.
farmhouse with 10,000 bees and only one ice cream cone, Mike. I don't know how I did not get an ice cream cone out of the deal, but she pulled up eating an ice cream with 10,000 bees. And we thought that was pretty funny and laughed
Yeah.
pretty
That's
hard at that.
awesome.
She wanted a reward. She wanted that reward to go along with anaphylaxis, man.
Well, that, it was my first attempt, and like everything that you do daily, and we do, is not being afraid of trying new things. And this was a
Right.
very new thing and kind of a scary thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're right, I kind of rewarded myself, like, oh, I did it. And
That's funny.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Secretly, guys, she said I wasn't willing to brave the van and the bees, so I didn't deserve ice cream.
Right,
I
right,
think that was
right.
I think that was
You
the,
didn't
the
you didn't
motto
bring
there.
an
Next time
EpiPen.
I go.
Yeah, she said you didn't bring an EpiPen to the party, dude.
Oh, it was funny, but traveling with bees or with a guy in a wheelchair, there's always equipment that we need. And
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough that we could strap down the nuke using the tie downs for my wheelchair. So,
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
a lot of the equipment that we use, you have to kind of take with you or plan ahead. But that
Yeah.
was one instance where the adaptive equipment worked out in our favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we travel, I friends of mine used to laugh and talk about how high maintenance I am.
Mhm.
I'm nothing compared to this guy. Like, I have learned how to be a really more efficient packer because there's not room for my stuff anymore. We have to have all the room for his stuff, and it's been funny because I if I go on a trip by myself for a day or two, and he's like, "Is that all you're taking?" And I'm like, "That's all I have to." Like, there's not extra duffel bags and extra, suitcases with this or that accoutrement in it. And so
Mhm.
It is that's very true. So you always have to kind of be mindful of how much space, when people say, "Oh, you drive a huge car," and it's like, yes, but if you saw that on our way to Texas where we're gone for 10 days, you would not think there was that
Right.
much space
Right.
in this car.
Right.
Especially if the dog goes. I mean, he's little, but he has a bed and he has his own little stuff, so
It's mind blowing to think of the amount of stuff that we have to take just because we may need it. And
Right.
so, I've got a bag just of medical supplies just in
Mhm.
case.
right.
And I tell people we can't go to Walmart or and get it. So I pack 3 times the amount of stuff that we need.
And we're fortunate that Mike normally uses a sliding board when we travel, but we know people that have to have portable Hoyers. Those things are
Mhm.
70 and 80 pounds. And,
Mhm.
it's amazing to me. A hotel could put one easily in the ceiling.
Yep.
But then the other day when we were in a hotel and they had the automatic blinds, those didn't work. And I thought, well, even if they had a Hoyer, the chances of it actually working would be slim to none.
Right.
So
Maintain it.
the maintaining it is. So
And, and really, the things that we rely on, I'd be so afraid that it wouldn't work at the hotel that I'd probably pack it anyway. And we're huge list makers, so that I don't forget anything, even after all these years. You have to be prepared and self-sufficient. And then you get curveballs anyway. Uh, it's, it's kind of a funny story. I always like Beth to tell about our trip to Texas, and
Oh.
we're sitting on the plane, and you want to tell them a little bit about that experience.
And to get on a plane, they put you in that contraption that basically UPS drivers bring your packages on, and you're sitting on that and you're strapped in. And finally, I transfer him into a seat. We bring our own straps, our own cushion, your own straps to seatbelt you in, because that little seatbelt in the bottom isn't going to keep somebody from falling forward with no trunk control. So, like you said, very prepared, but not prepared for sitting there. And all of a sudden, somebody, the flight attendant comes and said, "Excuse me, the captain would like to speak to you." And of course, all heads turn in our direction, like, now what? They didn't know how to work his chair, which has a lot of the ability to recline and go up and down. And they couldn't get it into the hold of the plane. They didn't know how to work it. So here I am. They follow us down on the tarmac, bringing his chair so that they can load it into the plane. It was embarrassing. It was kind of cool because I thought, I'm on the tarmac of,
Right.
but frustrating because it delayed the plane.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. Greg was left on his own,
Yeah.
and we didn't know what kind of shape that chair would be in when we got there.
Even though we had all kind of notes on the chair, this is how you turn it on, this is how you move it, this is a mode that you need to get into. And I always laugh, you had to drive it into the plane. These folks probably deal with wheelchairs, I'm assuming, all the time. But if every guy in a chair or every girl in a chair has to get down and have somebody drive it into the plane for them, then we were wondering, well, how are they going to get it out whenever we get to our destination?
Exactly.
Yeah. And luckily they must have had somebody there who figured it out or read our little notes that were everywhere. And we had things bubble wrapped because there are parts that just can't be replaced quickly.
I had bubble wrapped Mike's hand control and put a box on top of it and zip tied it down. Because I thought we can't go somewhere without that. And then I just unlocked the motors and I wrote on here, "I'm heavy, but you push me. Do not lock my motors in." And the one lady said to me, "Do you know how heavy this is?" I said, "Do you know how heavy it is with him in it?"
Right.
I mean, like, you're not telling me anything I don't know. This is my life. Like, if you can't figure out how to push it, find somebody else, because I'm not showing you how to drive it. We're not going through that.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that in today's society, we pay a full price ticket, and then you guys have to be the one that loads the chairs, unloads the chairs. You're the concierge that gets us on and off the behavioral seat, and it's a doggone shame that we have to fight this fight over and over again just to fly.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
did learn something from one of the pilots. He told us that whatever you do not leave the jet bridge without your chair. You can choose to stay on the plane, but do not leave the jet bridge, because once you leave the jet bridge, they're no longer responsible for ensuring that you have your chair. And
Oh,
as long as you're on the jet bridge, all of the pilots, all the stewardesses, everybody responsible for that plane cannot leave. They want to be able to leave because they all have to go fly another plane. So they will assist you in getting that chair where you need it to be, because they'll try to tell you you need to go to baggage claim. No, ma'am, no, sir, we do not do that. It comes here, and we're going to stay here and you're welcome to get TSA. You're welcome to get airport security. I'm going to be right here till that chair rolls down the jet bridge, and we can smile and be nice about it, or I can just stand here and wait, and you can choose. Because the minute that you start bringing in TSA and airport security, I'm going to be recording, and I'm going to have a great day, and you're not.
You know, that's an excellent point, though, that once you deplane, they may not be able to find your chair for 8 hours for 8 days.
Right.
Correct.
We've had friends that put air tags on their chairs now, and they've been in Pittsburgh Airport and they're waiting on their chair to come, and it's been in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes.
Which is amazing to me, because you can't get on a plane without knowing your bag's on that plane, but they can lose a chair without being a problem.
Yep.
But that doesn't seem right.
And
So
the crazy spot too is, they treat us like luggage and toss us around. And then when we get there and our chairs are damaged, vacation's over or business is over. And now we've got to figure out how to repair our legs.
And they're like, here, let us give you this wheelchair. No, no,
Here's a
that's not
voucher.
gonna work.
Here's a voucher for you to eat somewhere. And I'm like, that's not helping the situation.
well, we've solved that problem by not flying anymore. The last time we flew, it was about 8 years ago. And there may be places that, although I really don't know where I'd like to go, that we can't drive. But the perk of driving is we have our vehicle. We don't have to deal with that. I know that I'm going to be able to not be as stressed because of what they're doing to Greg or his chair. And then we have our vehicle, which, you never know if there will be one available that's accessible.
Yeah. And they're ridiculously expensive to rent.
They are. 8 years ago,
You're
it was
not getting that through
$1,000 a
Hotwire.
week. Yeah.
That's an excellent point, Michael, that, even if we can afford the vacation, most of the time we can't afford the van rental when we're there, because it's the same price as the vacation.
Right.
Correct. And twice they've told me I need to leave him at the airport, come get the van from their place, and then go back to the airport to get him. And I'm thinking, and how are we going to accomplish that? Like,
Right.
with the two of us. And I just told him, I said, no, you're just going to have to charge me whatever it is for you to bring it here.
Yeah.
And so once again, now you're adding another $200 for drop off and pickup on a rental that you have to have for an entire week. That's 2 months worth of a car payment. And I'm like, you're right. We should have just driven our own van. It was cheaper to do that and stay at a hotel somewhere in between.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, though, that we're able to have those disasters happen, or we'll say those learning experiences.
Right.
And it doesn't deter us from trying again, maybe trying a
No.
different way, making adjustments. So I know I've learned a lot in the 20 plus years. You've learned a lot. And we've just, again, adjusted, know what works, know what doesn't work. And there are so many people that may not have the support or the courage. I won't even say courage, but the confidence to try.
Right.
And I think that's one of the platforms that you guys have is, hey, here's some of our stories. Here's some stories of the people that come on. And, it doesn't always work out, but they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great.
You're right, Beth. And that's one of the things I enjoy the most about being able to share this journey with Greg is it's about showing that pursuit. It's about finding whatever their passions are or, harboring our passions. And, we're talking a little bit about travel. And if we go off on a conference with Michael or whatever, I'm not going to sit around. I'm going to go find something to get into. and then try to share how it worked or it didn't work. And it's all about let's find new ways to discover life and chase those passions. That pursuit's there. That's kind of what we want to do.
And even local, like close to home, we had an experience this week where they had built a new township building, and the township supervisor is our neighbor down at the farm and said, "Hey, would you like to have a tour of the building?" And we jumped at it. We said, "Yeah, let's do it right now." So we got in the van and went 5 minutes up the road, and what a wonderful, wonderful building it is, and an all new ramp, all open. And it was just amazing that such a small town, wanted to have accessibility and concentrated on it, made it happen. And it was just so surprising to have the access that we normally don't have.
And the other part is when you do have a place like that, when you do have neighbors who are your friends or your neighbors and talk to you every day, you're not just some one person who comes to vote once a year or comes to a committee meeting. You're the neighbor. So to have that full inclusion in the community, not in all ways, whether you want to participate or not, the options there. I always say I may not want to go to the party, but I want to be asked. I want to be able to say no.
I want to be able to go to the party if I am invited. And I think that's where the biggest issue that I keep seeing is, advocacy takes everybody, but nobody thinks about it until it affects you. And so that's what I keep preaching when we have Wheelers come and their families come is at least try. Get out in the community, even if it's, going to a little league game that's outside, you're good. Or go to a restaurant, go to your church, go to a bar, do something so that you are seen. Because the more you're seen, the more people are going to think about, wonder how that guy I saw on Tuesday could do this.
Right. Yeah.
And until we get out there and just say try and are seen, things aren't going to change because the reality is, you don't see anybody, you don't think about it. And so once you start seeing, it starts making sense. We have some friends that built a house and they have the coolest interior ramp I have ever seen. They did it coming in. They have two garages and one of them's kind of up here and one of them's kind of down here. And the one that's down here actually has a ramp inside the house that goes up into the other part of the house. And when you look at it, you're like, wait a minute, that floor looks kind of different. But you don't think about it till you're on it, but it's beautiful. It's incorporated into the house. And my cousin does tile work, and I saw a bathroom he did the other day, and he was talking about how people wanted this particular kind of walk-in shower. And my first thought was, that's in a normal house. That's not in a wheelchair house. And yet that whole bathroom is accessible because they wanted a floating sink because that's the new in thing and a walk-in shower with this tub thing that I was like, that's really pretty. And that is a dual application in the world. And so, until we start saying, hey, that works. Hey, that works. I think most people don't think about it, but it's really awesome when you see it and it happens. And we want to continue that, like you said, in your township and any new buildings. And we've even seen in some of our buildings that are old, some of the modifications that have been made. And the things that they're doing now are neat and incorporating kind of in a meld. And hopefully we're going to keep seeing that.
Yeah.
And you were saying, aging in place is something that all of us need to think about.
Right.
You have people that want to stay inside their homes, and if they have a roll-in shower or a walk-in shower, they don't have to worry about not being able to take a bath if they break their leg or have a hip replaced or what have you, because sooner or later we're all going to need one floor living, a bedroom on one floor, a kitchen, a bathroom, or even accessibility for friends, like Mike and I that want to come over or get invited to the party and say we can't make it, one of the two. You know,
you want the option to say no.
That's right.
Right. We just want the space, so that it's easy enough for everybody to be there. And it's like you said, Beth, we don't want to draw negative attention to the guy in the chair. You know, we had a group over the other day and we were talking about flow of traffic in a restaurant. And, you know, I'm not asking for extra room. I mean, my standard is it's a standard chair. But if I show up at the restaurant and now all the people that are eating have to stop eating to move, now you're drawing a negative light on me, and I don't want that.
Mike, we'd laugh all the time that no matter what reservation we make at a restaurant, I'm getting seated near the bathroom.
Right.
It's just the bathroom or the kitchen door,
Yeah.
one of the two. And you're right. I don't want to roll through the entire restaurant, make everybody pull their chair in and sit me by the bathroom. I don't understand why they do that. And
Yeah.
I've started
it's
saying,
funny.
no, I'm sorry, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're going to have to wait. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I found they don't like you just standing there because now everybody is looking, wondering what's going on. And the restaurants don't like that. And so I'll say, are you talking about back there? No, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. I put in my reservation path of travel and you don't have one.
Mhm.
And I found that while it does kind of, it's very irritating to some restaurants. We only have to say that one or two times before when we go back the third time, they see our name, they see path of travel, and now we don't have that problem. And, you know, somebody asked me the other day how I feel about the fact that there's probably a lot of people out there who don't like me. And what I said was, I don't really care because the reality of the situation is it's not just about us. It's about the people that come after us.
Right.
And if it's okay for us, then they're going to assume it's okay for them, and it's not okay for anybody.
And you made a good point when you said then the second time or the third time that I go. So this isn't a one-time deal because participation and doing things, sometimes you want to do something or go somewhere more than once.
Right.
So, you know, as you said, they get used to you and then the next person benefits from it. So, you know, that to me, that's what I think when we do certain things, we may be the first, we may do it again, but we won't be the last.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And it's about building in those mutually beneficial partnerships where they understand, you know, it's not a handout, it's a hand up. And then all we're trying to do is better our relationship with you, bring in and be good patrons. But at the same token, don't put me in a negative light and
Mhm.
don't put me in the corner.
Nobody puts Mikey in a corner.
Well, guys, I mean, we're trying to build a sense of community. Mike, that's what we do best. We advocate, we talk with people. And if we can help anyone with a disability, whether they're in a chair or what have you, that's what we want to do. And we
Right.
want to encourage people to come on and talk with us, tell us their stories and kind of laugh a little bit about, you know, pilots bringing you down on the tarmac and maybe your experience at work or what have you. And I think this is going to be a new forum, and I'm really looking forward to what we can accomplish together, all four of us, and what the future brings, you know, for the Accessible Pursuits podcast.
Yeah. I'm excited for you guys. I think this is going to be a good thing and meeting a lot of new people and reaching a lot of new people. I think it's exciting.
It is exciting. I was really happy when Greg told me about it. I was surprised at first, you know, because you built such a following on your previous one. But again, not being afraid to try new things and
Yes.
get out there. That's the way to be.
If I just get out of the way and listen to Mike, we generally do pretty good. So
No.
I needed to do that a little bit sooner, and I'm
No.
looking forward to this year and everything it brings. And guys, I just appreciate your friendship, and Beth and I love both of you, and we're looking forward to doing a lot more of this.
We
You know-
love you too. And you know, we got to get a road trip. The four of us have got to figure this out and get in the same place at the same time.
I agree.
You know, it goes back to the same thing we've said over and over. This is a very small community, man. The disability world's a small one. I'm blessed that I got guys like Greg Trainer as my friend, that we can do this. I say that with all honesty. It's one of these things that, you know, it's not about me, you, or anybody else. You've been more than humble in every aspect of it. And I don't say it for a pat on the back or trying to build you up. It's just we see some great people in this, man, and I'm just excited that we're going to be able to highlight more people that are just getting on with life. It's exciting.